And we are rolling on this first day of December.
Yep.
And we're about to address the question here in COM 104. This house would arm everyone. This house would arm everyone. For the affirmative, Sam. And on the negative, Nayeli. So, okay. If you're in pain, you know, you can sit on that seat back there. Would you rather? I don't want you to, you know, have a nervous breakdown over this class, you know. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Is that good?
Is that okay? I don't want you to slip down and go to the ground.
I need to have weight off that foot.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. And we are rolling.
Hi, my name is Sam. I'm here.
Hi, Sam.
On the topic, this house would arm everybody. I'm here to argue the affirmative to arm everybody. Going straight down to it, what is the problem? The problem is that we have a mass shooting problem, or so the media would like us to believe, fueled by mass shootings and media hysteria about gun death. Gun control legislation have become increasingly popular, which infringe upon American values and right to bear arms, which is given to us by the Constitution, the Second Amendment, which states that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is from the United States Constitution. Gun control legislation infringes upon that right for self-defense. So how big is this problem? There were 372 mass shootings in the United States in 2015, killing 475 people and wounding 1,870, according to the mass shooting tracker from Gun Violence Archive, 2016. And recently, President Obama has been urging lawmakers to reopen debate on stricter gun control policies after the Pulse nightclub shooting this year. So why do we have this problem? Washington Post author Ingram, utilizing the census data and congressional research data from 2015, says there are 357 million guns in the United States for 317 million people. It's more than one for every single person. On top of that, we have the media hysteria over statistically negligible data overexciting the masses. I mean, yes, 372 mass shootings a year is high, but you also have to consider what the definition of mass hysteria or mass shootings are, which is just more than 3 people dead. Yes, that's bad, but that's negligible compared to how many people die from automobile accidents or smoking, which is significantly higher. So should we ban smoking? Should we ban driving cars? No, because that would infringe upon our rights as Americans. So when you have news articles titled, "When Kids Shoot Their Parents, an American Tradition," Manisel 2016, or a Daily Dot article called "Toddler Shooting Epidemic" by Garcia in 2015, it kind of feeds to this media frenzy and saying that we have a gun problem, when really, that's not really the issue that we have. So what is the solution then to the gun, the mass shooting issues? It is our inalienable right to bear arms, but it should also be administered with responsibility, like, say, driver's license. Not everybody drives. At the age of 18, all American citizens should be compelled to take basic firearms training and educational courses before being issued a license to carry a firearm. Same article by Ingram, the Washington Post author, in 2015, said, "The study found that proper training and education are key to successfully using a firearm in self-defense. Carrying a gun in public does not provide self-defense unless the carrier is properly trained and maintains their skill level." The second is to administer basic background checks for purchasing of firearms due to potential of firearms falling into the hands of the mentally unstable. Now, we've seen that a lot of these mass shootings, the big ones in the media, are carried out by people who aren't quite all there. And these shootings, if we have a little more intensive background checks, we'd be able to weed these people out. So, will this solution work? Giving everybody guns and making it a little easier. An armed society is a polite society. We've heard this. This is researcher Gary Kleck found that 92% of criminal attacks are deterred when a gun is merely shown, or rarely a warning shot. By inference, this means that open carry would have the effect of deterring crime in the same way that a thief might choose another restaurant when he sees police eating at his intended target. This is Pratt from 2012 in his book. It is important also to note that states that allow open carry, there is a dip of 23% of violent crimes. Murder rate is 5% lower, aggravated assault is 23% lower, and robbery rates are 36% lower. This is from House Criminal Justice Subcommittee just last year. So what are the advantages? So having a trained armed citizens will be able to spring into action to minimize casualties when in the event of a potential attack, instead of being helpless victims, being in a gun-free zone. In Paris, which has stringent gun laws, people fell victim to armed assailants, resulting in 12 deaths, 11 injuries. This is from the Paris, the Charlie Hebdo assault. We all saw that on TV. Newton, Connecticut, 26 people, 20 of whom were children, were shot and killed by armed gunmen at Sandy Hook Elementary School. This could have been prevented if the teacher was armed, instead of being in a gun-free zone where the principal had to leap at the attacker and lost her life without having a gun to defend herself. In Orlando, Florida, most recently, Omar Mateen killed 49 people at a nightclub, injuring another 53 before killing himself. Again, this could have been prevented if even one other person had a gun. And these, I'm not saying, hand out guns to everybody at a street corner, but I'm saying trained individuals armed with guns. So, and by a wide 51 to 29% margin with a bunch undeclared, more people say that gun in a house makes it safer rather than dangerous. This is a survey done by Clement and Craig Hill in 2013. So,
so on balance, what would you conclude? Yeah.
On balance, conclude that gun control, that having more guns is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on having a trained citizenry rather than just handing it out on every corner. I now stand open for questions and points of clarification.
Thank you. 709. Choi. Okay. Oh, I see. Can you just lay up there?
No, I'm okay.
Lie up there on the thing like that. The Imaginary Invalid by Moliere. Right? Okay, you need to be in camera range, so stand together and pretend you like each other. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Rock and roll.
Okay, so you said that by allowing people age of 18 and up to take firearm training, it would reduce...
Look at me, please.
It would reduce crime rates. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a question. Okay, answer it,
okay.
Sam.
It sounded like the end one. Well, we have a House As I said, there was a judicial committee, House Criminal Justice Subcommittee that testified, saying that indeed there are statistics to show that states that have open carry do reduce violent crime by significant amounts. 23% violent crime, 5% murder, 23% assault rape, and 36% robbery rate. Now, this is a House Judicial Committee. I mean, would you say no to being able to reduce crime rates in your own state, in your own homes? Would you say no to whatever the solution may be? If it would lower and make your home safer, would you say no to this?
You don't get to ask questions. It's her cross-ex, yeah.
I wasn't going to.
It was a rhetorical question, right? Yeah, okay, yeah.
You also said that having more guns is not a bad thing.
Look at me.
It's not a bad
I'm
thing.
the king.
But it would require training. How would that benefit how would that benefit reducing murders or yeah.
More training, reducing. So your question was, how would more guns reduce murders?
Yeah.
No, how would the training of people before they got the guns reduce?
Oh, okay. We can take countries such as Sweden, for example, who have a mandatory military service for all their citizenry, and people who do serve in the military, they have their own gun that's government issued in their homes with government issued ammunition. They have a very low crime rate. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but they do. And in cases where we had mass shootings, mass murders, assaults, having a trained citizen would be able to spring into action and deal with this armed assailant and reduce the casualty numbers instead of having, say, something like 20 children dead at a place in an elementary, which was a gun safe zone.
That's time. Thank you very much. Okay, the chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition for her opening speech, not to exceed 7 minutes in length. I need just a moment, so look over your notes for a second, please. Okay.
Hello, my name is Nayeli, and I will be.
Hi, Nayeli.
I will be saying. Oh my God. My topic is the United States should not arm everyone. I'm going to be I'm going to be presenting this proposition in the negative. I'm going to go directly to what is the problem. The problem is that annually firearms kill more than 30,000 individuals and injure more than 50,000 individuals, resulting in the cost of $45 million to over $1 billion in the United States. The United States are suffering from firearm injury epidemic. The incident of mass shootings has tripled from an average of four in 2000 to 12 events in 2013. Two of the deadliest mass shootings happened in 2012, which was the Batman shooting in Aurora, Colorado, and the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newton, Connecticut, which claimed a total of 39 lives. I got that from a article from 2014. A professor from UC Davis, actually a researcher from UC Davis on gun violence, wrote in a recent report, a firearm at home is 22 times more likely to be used in a domestic home suicide or accidental shooting than in self-defense, according to the Brandy campaign to prevent gun violence. And I also got that in a Progress article from 2013 on gun policies. For example, the San Bernardino butchery has no indications that 2 assassins were clinical cases. The people were Muslims, but there was roughly one mass shooting, 4 more victims each day in America. And then, how big is the problem? So suicide and homicide by firearms account to the south and the fifth leading cause of death due to injury in the United States. Guns account for 80% of all firearm homicides and suicides, and are also the dominant firearms involving an accident and child shooting fatalities. An analysis of state household firearms ownership rates showed a significantly higher rate of homicide victimized in homes with firearms, as well as significantly higher suicide rates. And that's from a ProQuest article from 2014. Over the last few decades, our country has endured countless mass shootings, press involving firearms in the hands of the mentally disturbed or dangerous individuals. This was like considering the Isla Vista shooting. Many states such as California and Connecticut have revised and tightened specific gun regulations for that same fact. And that's also from ProQuest in 2015. Why do we have the problem? We as a country have made serious policy decisions to make those weapons available to the widest numbers of people. So blame us because we don't pressure Congress to pass strong nationwide laws, such as banning large capacity ammunition magazine and required universal background checks. If a previous background check was complete, such as one of a permit to carry a concealed weapon, then a background check was not required. Many states were able to bypass the background checks through laws such as the Central Carry Law or by instituting another background check system. It is stated that guns are rarely used in self-defense. What is the solution? Requiring smart arms, firearms can be used by the rightful owner, not by thieves or crooks buying weapons in the underground. Solutions like requiring background checks for ammo purchases and limiting the buy. A well-founded government buy program that offers financial incentives for people to dump guns if they don't care about but are still drugs for thieves and accidents. And then bans of specific types of weapons are restricted child access to firearms. Will the solution work? By requiring a smart arm that can be used through their rightful owner and not sold underground will allow crime reduction because there will be a background check and limiting on buying a weapon. If there is a pay-up program for arms that are sitting around for accidents to occur or for thieves to take from homes, it will allow them to receive an incentive for their weapons, which the government will then have in their hands rather than having it out being dangerous to the community. What are the advantages to the proposal? Reducing more than 30,000 firearm deaths and reducing 50,000 injuries on individuals will result in a cost of $45 million over $1 billion in the United States. What are the disadvantages? Gun Control Act of 1968, the GCA were getting bigger as failure in the self-report background checks and flood of domestic Saturday night specials, also known as hunt guns. Unbalance, which outweigh. By enforcing laws and banning to arm everyone, we created a solution to bring back all the illegal firearms, weapons that are out in the country by allowing there to be an incentive to return those arms, and there will be less crime and less murders or suicide. Well, this may cost the U.S. less death, injuries, and the result of millions of dollars are invested in people who get injured and taken to the hospital. From a ProQuest article in 2014, it says that firearms were addressed as a criminal justice problem for more than 30 years, and public health injuries prevention specialists have worked to address the problem of firearm injuries through surveillance, education, research, and law.
Therefore, I urge you not to arm everyone.
Therefore, sorry, what did I say?
I urge you not to arm everyone.
Not to arm everyone.
And I now stand open for
points of clarification
and cross-examination. Thank you, Ellie. Stand close to her, please. Okay. The clock be ticking.
So you said smart gun tech, application of the smart gun tech where it would limit the usage from, which would eliminate the underground market and prevent accidental deaths. Do you have any statistics to show that it's even reliable? Because I've read that it's completely unrealistic and it doesn't work.
I don't have any statistics on it, but personally, I do believe that it would work to have people return the guns that are illegal, because usually the guns that are used when there have been murder, suicides, or they're usually legal guns or illegal. It can be both, but I believe that if people get an incentive for the gun that they have at home and they're not using it, it would decrease the murder rates.
So, adding on that, you said that government should fund a program to buy back guns. There are currently more than one gun for every single person in the United States. Australia did a similar program after the Port MacArthur shooting, and it was successful, but they didn't have nearly as many guns as we did. Where would the funding for something like that come from?
The funding for, did you say the funding for the
buyback?
To the buyback? I believe that funding can come from maybe recycling the guns and like making money out of it by recycling them, and that incentive will be sent to the person that is returning the gun.
Just to add on that, there have been other buyback programs even in Los Angeles, and it's actually been very negative on the budget. It's at a huge loss to the government to do these buyback programs, and you're saying that you'd still be able to find somehow add a
30 seconds.
profit.
I think that there should be a profit. Like, they could find a profit for it because it would minimize the crime rates. So if there is an incentive for that, then I don't see why people shouldn't return.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you may take your respective seats. It's now time for a refutation from first the government. So,
From me?
from the government, from
He's government.
your opposition, yeah. And you'll recall that we want a serial repeat of, she said, I disagree because, therefore, the 4 steps of refutation, practice. Thank you.
Okay. She said that there is a 22% chance for suicide. Right? Guns have a 22% chance for suicide rather than used for self-defense. Suicide and firearm deaths are leading. I disagree, because if a person wants to really end their life, they will find an alternative method to do so. Guns are not the end-all, be-all method of killing yourself. The CDC showed that there's a 35 in terms of accidental deaths, which she also mentioned in terms of accidental shootings and toddlers and such. The CDC showed that there's in 2013 there was only 505 accidental gun-related deaths, but the leading cause of death in the United States in 2013 was actually poisoning. She said universal background checks and closing the loophole. As I mentioned in my speech, I actually agree with her, and I think that universal background checks should be implemented and those loopholes should be closed, because they allow guns into the hands of people who we don't necessarily agree with. And She also said that guns are rarely used for self-defense. I disagree, because there's a large population in the Midwest who use these guns for self-defense and who use it for their livelihood all the time, who go out and use it to hunt, have a hunting license. We may be a little bit disconnected here living in the city where we get all our stuff from the grocery store, but in the Midwest this kind of living is still a daily thing. And that is it.
That's your refutation. Therefore, for all these reasons?
For these reasons, I believe that we should indeed arm everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for timing, Jared. Just a second, please. Okay. It's now time to hear from 4 steps of refutation from the leader of the opposition. He said, I disagree because, therefore.
He said that having more guns is not a bad thing, and it's better to have training. We disagree because there were 62 mass shootings in the United States between 1982 and 2000, where 49 of the shooters had legally obtained guns, and 143 guns were possessed by killers, with about 75% obtained legally. Therefore, I disagree that we should not arm everyone.
Good.
Because of the percent of guns that we contained was very high, and they were legal guns.
Okay. No more refutation?
Sorry.
Okay, if that's all you have, well, thank you very much. Okay, could you please fill your ballots out now quickly?
Also, who has the stack of ballots?
Individual consultation, there's a stack of ballots that went around. Thank you.
Who doesn't have ballots?
I was like trying to see with the so that they wouldn't
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, after like doing the final one, I'm like, okay.
See,
yeah,
I guess you figured out we needed more than one.
I just got like really good.
Yeah.
Arguing that they consist.
Professor, where's the stack of ballots?
Really?
There it is, found it.
You found him?
Yeah.
Found him.
Okay.
We haven't signed yet?
There's like 12 of
Okay. This is for today, right now.
these. Anyone else have a volunteer?
What is this? It's like chia seeds. Good one.
Didn't you leave? Didn't you leave? Are you serious?
Thank you.
I didn't really bad. I found it like really hurt. Like I was like, this fucking sucks. Like why did you do this? I felt really bad for my partner. She was like, that's okay. But it sucks. Yeah. But he's like really good.
Oh, is he a teacher?
No. But he's like 30 something. He's like really good.
What is the work?
It's at a private school out in the Never mind. I was gonna like give you more geographic directions, but I was like, there's no use. No, because you're from Northtown.
What did you do Thanksgiving?
I just went home. I had like family dinners. I got and then I had like 2 dinners every year.
Vegas?
No, we like traveled there and my yeah. We were shopping on the way and my baby was just like, let's go. Like, do you want to go?
Okay, house come to order, please. And may I add, the back row in particular, could we try to keep, be attentive during the debate and not chat with each other and make rude comments? It's rude for the people up here speaking. Hard to concentrate. Thank you for your respect. In a 14-3 decision, it goes to the government that we should arm everyone. Quickly tell us how you voted and why.
I was
Stand up for Jesus.
I was standing outside.
Yes, we do.
I was standing outside because I didn't want to be rude and walking during the debate, so I actually did not hear. I didn't hear the debate. So.
Thank you.
My name's Josh, and I voted for the proposition because I thought he had a lot of statistical evidence for the cross-examination, and he used statistical evidence against an opponent.
Yeah. Really had good evidence, didn't they? Yeah.
My name is Moses. I voted for affirmative. I thought his logic was clear, and he was not only the logic was clear, but he actually supported his logic with the statistics, which was good.
Okay. Roshan.
I voted for the opposition because she just I like the support that she had. Like I still caught on to everything she was saying, and I was like stuck with it.
Okay. Improvement. Go ahead. How'd you vote? Yeah, we're going along the road. There's a pattern here. Yeah, we go right along the road. Hi. Hi, Jared.
For the affirmative, because I believe he used reputation to strengthen some of his own points while distancing himself from a lot of the counterpoints that the opposition was making.
Caden?
Hi, Caden. Can you move your head, please?
I voted for the affirmative. I felt like he handled his cross-examination really well. Fought back a lot of statistics, and it really strengthened his argument.
Yeah.
I voted for Sam.
Name?
My name is Obed.
Hi, Obed.
I voted for Sam because he was more confident.
Okay, wow.
Hi, my name is Thelma.
Hi, Thelma.
It was close. I ended up voting for the affirmative because he was able to refute some of her stronger points in the refutation. So that's what kind of tipped the scale for me.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Laura, and
Hi, Laura.
I actually voted in the opposition for Nayeli because I feel like she had stronger evidence, but he had a better reputation. But I still feel like her evidence kind of like persuaded me to vote for her as well. So.
Okay, good.
Hi, I'm John.
Hi, John.
I was originally going to vote for the negative, but I just swapped to affirmative last second just because I felt like Sam did a better job with reputation. I felt like I just didn't take advantage of him. I felt like missed opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very telling with just one cycle of refutation. Hurts the credibility. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Sam.
Hi, Psalm.
I voted in the affirmative. I appreciated his reputation also, but I also think that he cited more of his statistics. That was important to me.
Yeah, his case was prima facie. He had a strong case that he wrote. Here. Yes, sir.
My name is Alberto.
Hi, Alberto.
I voted on the affirmative. He just had stronger cases, more evidence, made a comparison that versus the tobacco industry and the auto industry that compared to that, there's more deaths on that side. And everything that he claimed, she also agreed with. So it's as though she didn't build a better case for herself.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. Yes, please.
I'm Megan.
Hi, Megan.
I voted in the proposition because I felt like he had stronger statistical evidence, and I was convinced by that.
Yeah? Yes, please.
My name is Anthony, and I voted
Hi,
for
Anthony.
affirmative because despite that the negative had really good evidence, I thought the affirmative did a significantly better job at turning the refutation, and that's what really made me want to vote for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very telling. Yes, please.
My name is Anne, and I also
Hi,
voted
Anne.
in the affirmative. Yeah, I think that he did a really good job of citing a lot of evidence, and I think it was a really good case.
Mr. Salinger.
Yes, I'm Pierre.
Hi, Pierre.
I voted in the opposition. I mean, you did a great job, and you managed to find evidence, which is incredible. I don't know where you found those, but.
NRA sites.
But she just have, it's such an overwhelming amount of evidence that it just kind of overshadows whatever argument you can
Yeah.
make.
Well, okay, we'll go here, and then I want to finish with the.
I'm Monique. I voted in the
Hi, Monique.
affirmative because I thought you had a really hard proposition to begin with. I was like, how is he going to do that? But I thought you really did a good job of providing evidence for what was already a hard proposition. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Jared.
Hi, my name's Jared.
Hi,
voted
Jared.
For side government. So I'll do separate feedback. One, when you start in the beginning, I like that you actually quoted what the Second Amendment was, but you never analyzed it for me. So you never told me. You just said, "Here's a right." You didn't tell me why it's right. You didn't go into the clauses of the Second Amendment and where the contention is. So I'd like to see that because you brought up the right, and then you use the example of oh, smoking in cars kill people, but it's an American right. Not the same thing. Second Amendment is a fundamental constitutional right. Those are not really. Okay, so if you're going to do that, make sure you analyze why that's the case. I like that you defined what a mass shooting was and the misinterpretation of the media on that. The background check thing, I didn't really feel like it gave fair ground because you basically, your side is to arm everyone, right? So you kind of have to buy, there's going to be some psychopaths and they're going to kill people, but on the bright side, when that happens, those people will be gunned down. That's your ground.
They'll be shot. The psychos will get shot
Exactly.
quickly.
So
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of ate up some of her ground, and she didn't really attack you on it, but if she would have, I probably would have voted for her because I didn't think that was fair. And then good disincentivization of crime point, I like that. That's really the only point your side has, in my opinion. That's my bias showing, but good use of stats in your response, and when she was crossing you, you kind of dominated the time. I like that. And then at the end, she said fact, and then I disagreed because you said 22%, and then you just disagreed. If she would have taken advantage of that and linked specifically how crimes or suicide by passion and instant killing is specifically where that's bad, she would have completely destroyed you on that point. So just be aware that that leaves you open to criticism. Niall. Okay, so look up more frequently. I was trying to give you time signals a lot, and I think it would have helped you a little bit more with your time management. Good point on gun ownership leading to death, because as soon as you brought that point up, I was just waiting for you to bring it, and then you said, look, suicide and people who own homes, who have guns in their homes, are more likely to use them against themselves than for the people. It's like a fields versus facts argument.
Family members, yeah.
And then accident versus thieves, that was a good point, and just again, better time management. You were kind of short on refutation and short on your overall. Get in more questions when you're in CX. Just try to really stick it, as Chris would say, stick it to your opponent. Get something that's very sharp and makes them have to go down a certain path. And I saw that, just one last comment, I saw that in the cross where you trapped her on the budget issue. You're like, well, what would you pay for that? And then you kind of were like, well, we could recycle guns. Just be like, lives are more important. You can't quantify a life or something of that nature. And then you kind of trap him. But you let him trap you as to where you didn't have to do that. So I'd just say on your cross, just be a little bit more prepared. Sorry for the long feedback.
Yeah, and I don't know what recycling guns is. Does that mean sell them back to the people so they can be used again? I don't know.
Hey, I'm Joe. I
Hi, Joe.
did vote for the affirmative as well, mostly for the reasons that other people have stated. But again, I do want to talk about how realize what the ground delineation in this debate is, which is he says arming everyone. So I was expecting you to come up here and talk about this means guns to psychopaths, things like that. On the other hand, Sam, when you agreed with her on background checks, and this is where Nayeli, like when you say background checks, that also means there has to be something in that background check that would disqualify certain people from getting a gun, generally. So like if you agree with that, that means also then you would be agreeing that certain people shouldn't have guns, which is not your ground. So just remember like where that debate is, because at the end of the day, the cases didn't seem mutually exclusive to me. Like it was like you could arm everyone, but also have training and background checks, and that seems like a good way to go. So just make sure that the ground is delineated, and then Nayeli, just make sure that you look up more. Try to be a little bit more assertive in the cross-examination. But I liked your ideas for like smart guns, buyback programs, things like that. I think that those were some good ideas to work with.
Yeah. Quick comment, one comment for each side. Nayeli, just on the refutation, I know you got real nervous and you had more refutation to give, but we wanted more than just one cycle of the refutation. You repeat those 4 steps over and over again for his points, see? And it becomes a cumulative and a very persuasive thing to do when you refute everything that he says. Yeah, I thought you were trying to have it both ways. Yeah, I'll do registration. I'll do background check. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, folks, for your feedback. Let's get the next. Let's get some marijuana up here. Let's get the marijuana debaters up here. Yeah.